Here we are on May the 7th, 2020. Cotton planting's well underway across most geography. But every year I receive questions around warm germ, cool germ, what are my scores, and how are they derived? How do you get those scores? Then another question I received this year a lot of is, my tag says 80%. Is that my actual warm germ? And if not, why don't you print the actual score on the tag? So let's talk about that latter question first, and we'll go back to how the scores are derived. So each tag has information on it that's mandated by state seed laws: a variety number, the crop mix, the germination, in this case is the warm germ, inert matter, weed seed, noxious weed, lot number, date tested. All that is mandated by state seed law. So that information has to be on that tag in order to be sold to a grower. Now, part of that state seed law says the minimum warm germ must be 80%. Some states are less than that, but 80 is the minimum warm germ that is required in most states. So the reason we print 80 on the tag is it takes 14 to 21 days, depending on the time of the season, to get a full germination score back from a lot of seed. Now we're following that seed from the time it's harvested, at the bale, time it goes to the gin, time it goes through the delinter. We're taking seed quality measurements all along that path of that seed to be a finished seed, a finished unit. But the score that is the official score has to be on that finished lot. That seed that the grower purchases has to have a germ score on it. So we actually pull the final sample as we're treating and bagging the seed. So we're treating and bagging, putting these tags on the seed bags, putting those bags on a pallet. And we're printing 80 because that's the minimum that it'll be before we sell. So if we get a germ score back and it's less than 80, that seed never leaves the warehouse. We dump it, discard it, and it never is sold to a grower. So we're guaranteeing every lot that is sold to a grower has a minimum germination warm germ score of 80. So that's the reason it's not on the tag, is because of the time lag, the time we're tagging and bagging. The time we get the scores back from the lab is, like I said, 14 days, and the peak season be 21 days. So 80% is guaranteed minimum. That seed could have a germ score of 82, 86, could have a warm germ of 92, even 95, but you guaranteed the minimum is 80. Now let's talk a little bit about how we arrive at our germ scores. Now we're taking a sample during the treating and bagging process. Those get sent to a lab, a seed testing lab. There's usually a seed testing lab in each state. There's private labs out there that you can send samples to, but they all adhere to the AOSA rules, Association Official Seed Analytics rule book, or that really is the guiding principle of how to do a germ test. For the warm germ, typically we're taking 50 seeds, putting on a wet paper towel, putting another one on it, rolling that paper towel up, sticking it in a Rubbermaid container, doing 4 reps, so it's really 200 seed per lot. That goes in a container, goes in a walk-in germinator. That walk-in germinator is set at 20, it cycles through 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. So that's 68 degrees and 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It will cycle for 16 hours at 68, then it'll cycle at 8 hours at 86, then another 16 hours at 68, and so forth for 7 days. Really, we're trying to get that, simulate that warming of the daytime soil, cooling off at night, warming in the daytime, cooling off at night. So the lab will put those in there at 7 days. They'll pull them out. They'll count everything that from the top to the tip of the root is 1.5 inches, 4 centimeters. Anything 1.5 inches or longer gets counted. Anything less than 1.5 inches stays on a paper towel. If the germ score at that point, 7 days, is 90 or above, typically we'll end the test and we'll report the warm germ being 90 or above, 92 or 93, whatever it comes out to be. If it's less than 90, that paper towel will go back in the container, back in the germinator for 5 more days. They'll take it out for 5 days, do another count. Anything that has progressed to 1.5 inches gets added, and that's our final warm germ after 12 days. So if they put it in there, we get 80 the first 7 days, 5 more germinate and grow the 1.5 inches long in the next 5 days. That warm germ score becomes 85. Tag still says 80, but the warm germ is 85. Now the cool test is real similar in that we're taking paper towels, wet paper towels, putting seed on them, rolling them up. But this time we're sticking them in a plastic bag with holes in them for aeration, then sticking a Rubbermaid container into a walk-in germinator. The walk-in germinator at this point is set at 18 degrees Celsius or 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. The lights are turned off for 7 days. So we have a constant temperature of 64.4 degrees and zero light, very high humidity situation. So we're putting a little more stress on that seed to germinate and to grow. Again, the seeds have to be 1.5 inches from tip to the tip of the root to be counted. 7 days, they pull those out. Anything that's 1.5 inches long gets counted. Anything 1.5 inches and less does not. That becomes our cool test. So if we get a warm germ test of 85 and our cool test after 7 days comes out to 65, you can actually add those two numbers together and get a 150 cool warm index. And that's really what I like to use as I'm going through the season is what's my cool warm index? You know, if I got 80, 60, that's a 140. I could have an 85 and a 55 and get to 140. For me personally, 140 is kind of the bottom end where I like to see my seed planted. Anything above that is considered really good seed. Anything below 140, I start being very cautious about when I plant that seed. We'll have a follow-up video talking about planting dates, calendar dates compared to temperature, soil temperature, and air temperature, DD60 accumulation. But for your warm and cool germ, those are available on every lot. Typically, if you'll request those from your seed rep, you can get those. But that's your warm and germ cool scores. That's how they're arrived. And that's kind of how reason we don't print them on the tag is because when they get back, that seed is already on the pallet, ready to put on the truck and shipped to you in timely fashion. Appreciate you listening. If you have comments, you can drop them in the comment box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and we'll do more of these. But any comments, any suggestions you have, I'd love to hear them. See you next time.